So excited about bringing on my next guest. We've been talking a little bit. We're just going to kind of chit chat here. I have Michael Van Vleck, and he's the owner of Denali Real Estate, and that's something I did it right. You let me talk. Let's just talk about that. Go ahead. First of all, we're live on Facebook, so I do want to say hi to everybody out there. Like us and follow us. We'll share the show later on. That's something that we did. You've been talking. Somebody asked me how long you've been on, and I think it's about 8 or 9 years.
I don't know. It doesn't really count when
I know you tell
there's
me
a
the
big
truth.
gap, right? I mean, it's nice to say that, but if you're, not doing that consistently, so
Yeah.
which is my fault.
Well, yeah, you've been.
So I've
busy.
been in absence, and I'm coming back.
Absentee. But you know what? Here's the
Amen.
thing. The funny thing is in all those times, when you and I've always talked about you as one of the persons that come on that when you come on, something happens. Almost every time, right?
It
we
does,
talk
yeah.
about that. This is really the truth.
It does.
And actually, it started from day one, and I didn't even know it for years because you were so kind to not tell me that I would say the name of the business wrong. Forever.
There's certain components of that, and which is fine. But as the life of, at least for what we do, as Denali Real Estate is a real estate brokerage, and we specialize in working with investors, and part of that is also property management. So it's very common for bad things to happen. And a lot of times, unfortunately, when those bad things happen, if they're a big enough emergency, they get to me, and we sometimes have to handle it. So that's a lot of the, times when we have it scheduled and I don't make it.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Which is
it does happen. But let me just say this. One thing about you that I love the most too is that you really are all about educating your clients. When you work with them, and whether they're a real estate investor or they don't even have to be someone who has a lot of property or anything like that. You love to teach a little bit about what you do to help people. You like to give them good ammunition
Good
to
advice.
make it, right?
That's right. So there's a reason for my absence, by the way, which is it ties along with this. So we do specialize in educating and giving people information. And one of the things that when somebody calls us and says, I've got a problem, I've got a property, or whatever it is, the first thing that we are doing is having a discussion about how to solve these problems or address their needs. It's really not about selling. So we're not selling anyone anything. And I think that's been, for us, a big deal on how we go about this. And one of the things that we have found is being able to do what we do as a property manager and covering both the Phoenix areas and the Tucson areas, having that knowledge and experience of those areas is valuable to people who are either wanting to invest in real estate or maybe already do. And what we have found is there's a lot of people that would purchase or invest in residential real estate, but they don't have a vehicle or a way to do that. And so there's a few different things. Like in our case, if you say philosophically, how do we potentially reach the most people and help the most people? You can try to do that in a way that says, okay, as a company, we'll try to do that on our own. And instead, what I feel has a bigger impact on the marketplace and people's lives is we've created, which is what I've been doing, is an investor program teaching where we're going to educate other real estate agents throughout the state on how do you help people that are trying to invest in real estate. Like, what are the things that you need to know? What are the things that we need to do to educate on you? How do we bring in state-of-the-art tools that you can use as part of this endeavor? So we've been, creating this and it's free. So it doesn't cost an agent anything. We hold seminars and sessions for people to do this. They can come, they get free education and support. We have a consulting team that will be able to help them do these kinds of things. So we've really been spending the last year, defining this, how it will work, how we can help people, putting the infrastructure in place, because of the people that we've already talked to about it are like, oh my gosh, I need this.
Right.
I need someone to help me. So and it's very difficult if you're a traditional real estate brokerage. It's very hard to offer this type of program because you can offer the educational part, but the real help comes in the real life circumstance where you're helping a client and you're like, hey, I need to know, what about this area? Have you managed other properties in this area? What should I expect in terms of the rental value, the type of tenant? Is it trending upward or downward? These are the things that we would know as a property manager, as opposed to somebody who's just buying and selling.
But you also have been in investing in yourself for a very long time.
Right.
And what I think you also like to do is, I think you're incredible with the way that you have created your contracts to be so fair, right? And probably different than most anybody's out there. And I think that's probably one of the things that you teach too, is not try and do things that seem, not to say the word complicated, but you do things very differently.
Yeah, so part of that educational program is helping real estate agents navigate that landscape. How do you find people that you can work with, and what does that look like? What should you expect? Is it a scenario where, you, just like you had said, if you're looking for a property manager, what kind of an agreement do they have? Like, do they stick you in it for a year or 2 years? Or like in our case, you can cancel any time. If you're doing the right thing and your job is to do a good job on behalf of your client, and that's your true desire, it doesn't matter how long your agreement is. And I find it, and personally, I find it disingenuous for a management company to say, hey, you're going to sign this agreement, it's 1 year in length, and you can't get out of it. And if you do, there's a big penalty. So how does that fall within the premise of, let's put our clients first? Right? How does that work? It doesn't. It's conflicting. And so a lot of times the put your clients first doesn't really work. I'll explain a couple items how we do that in property management. Number one, you can cancel our agreement anytime. So if something changes in your life, you can cancel. Number two, we're the only management company I know of that does in-person showings. So everybody else puts a self-show lockbox on. You call them and say, I want to see this home. They give anybody and everyone the code to go into your home on their own, unaccompanied, and so your home is at risk. I don't believe that's in an owner's best interest. We don't do it. We're the only manager I know that doesn't charge application fees. You want to apply for a home? It's free, right? Costs you nothing. And why do we do this? Because it's in the owner's best interest. We're the only management company I know that if something happens at your property, we'll call you first. Most companies, if it happens, it's $500 or less, then they'll just handle it. They don't even tell you. So you get these bills at the end of the month that you don't even know what's going on, because there was 3 or 4 items that were below $500 each. I had one owner that had 3 very minor items, so they sent 3 separate vendors when you could have sent a simple handyman. It cost the owner $1,200 for something that should have been $200.
Amazing.
So these kinds of things I think you can embed into the process. Put your client first, offer that as a starting point. And I think the end results then are substantial.
Well, that's why you're so successful at what you do. Not only do you make it so that the client is truly first, right? But also you help teach this to other people as well. So you're all about giving. That's another thing.
Give value, and you will get more than you could ever want.
Absolutely.
Just give value.
Give value. Now, you could call them direct. Their phone number is 480-626-4062. You can check them out on the website. It's DenaliArizona.com. And, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit further. But what do you want to leave them with today, just really quickly?
I think in this world where, maybe stocks and bonds may not provide the rate of return, we have, can show rate of return indicators where real estate can be a good alternative investment, and there's ways to invest in it with very little capital involved.
Check them out on the website. It's DenaliArizona.com. Call them. Their phone number is 480-626-4062. Hang tight. We're going to be back in just a minute. Again, it's DenaliArizona.com.
It's always so fast.
I know, it always does go fast. But you're doing great. Do you like it? I mean, it was sort of funny. We kind of flipped.
Just winging it.
Exactly.
It's not that easy.
But you have them here, so you're actually going down the line of what was there from probably the first one you've ever done was probably this one.
Oh my gosh,
Contracts,
right?
fees, maintenance, leasing, guarantees, and flexibility. So,
We'll switch gears.
what's the favorite thing about what you do?
Favorite thing that I enjoy?
Yeah, I mean, with your work.
Yeah, relating to that. I think for me personally, it's one of two things. My favorite thing is being able to help our clients achieve a level of wealth that over time that would be difficult to do on their own. I think that's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I like that.
For example, I had met somebody a couple of weeks ago, it was a 19-year-old kid, and he had just somehow gotten his first property, had saved up, worked hard to do it, and just being able to talk to him I talked to that kid, I happened to see him at a house for like 45 minutes, just encouraging him, explaining to him like the limitations of what people will place on you based on your age, and don't listen to them, kind of
That's
thing.
awesome.
And he was just seeing that is great. And then we have a lot of great people on our team. Seeing their professional growth and development and success is fun too.
That's love. I love that.
Yeah, it's really fun. I think when you get to this certain component of a lifestyle, of a life cycle of a company, it's like you have to make a choice. Like, am I going to focus on helping develop other people, or is it going to just be milk everybody for every last ounce?
Yeah, but I don't think that's ever been the kind of person that you are ever.
It's not,
No.
right? But I think people have to make that choice. What are they doing?
Well, that's true. And that's where sometimes when you, obviously the more value that you can get, the more you get back, but you know what? It's where the value is for you as a person,
True. Yeah, I think we have a lot of people that work at the company that probably could, go somewhere else if they wanted to and be just fine. But I think it's about we have a common mission, a common team, and everybody helps each other. We have a good environment.
Well, that's awesome.
A good culture.
And that's really important today, especially.
Seems to be.
Everybody really wants that.
Yeah,
It's
they
not
really
like
do.
when I was a kid.
It's crazy what some companies do.
Oh, I know.
Holy. Do you still have your appointment center?
Hmm?
You still have your appointment center?
Oh, yes. Welcome back, everyone. Like I said, something always happens where we end up laughing.
If it pops in my head, I gotta ask you.
He's asking me, but and the other thing that you did was so nice for me, and I have to tell everybody. Remember and I still have them. The King's pens, the Queen's pens, not the King.
Oh my gosh. Well, you
so
just
much
reminded me. Okay, so we went on a trip a little while ago, and I found it's not comparable. It's not even close, but it is one. Right?
Well, I have to tell you, folks.
So I have one at home.
Oh,
It's
wow.
not comparable. It's not even from the same place. But,
Okay. Oh, wow.
But it was
Somebody
just I
else
wanted
did?
you to know I thought of you. That was it.
That's so sweet.
So I'll bring it.
And we're talking about a couple of pens that I saw Mike using, and I says, "Oh my God, that's so cool!" And you had gone to the Queen's funeral,
Yeah.
right? And you had bought your daughter, and it's so funny because on air he's sitting there doing something, and I said, "Hey, Mike, we're on the air." He said, "Well, wait a minute, I'm purchasing you the other pens," and I'm like, "Oh my God, pens! This is so
Yeah.
cool. That's the way you are." And thank you for those as
Of course.
well. But again, we were talking about value,
Right. Yeah.
and you are that way as a person, not just, and that's what makes you different, right? You have a company that's there for people to invest in real estate, and that could be a dog-eat-dog, kind of world, right? But you're not like that.
Yeah, no, I think the thing for us has really been, you have to look at it and say, there's so many people within, the landscape, but you don't have to compete in a dirty way, right? Do the best you can do, give yourself the best offering. One thing that people miss a lot as consumers is they say, investing in real estate is only for really wealthy people. and you can only do it if you have a lot of money. And that's not true at all. It's really not true at all. It takes a certain level of self-discipline, which a lot of people seem to be lacking. You might have to make consumer choices and say, I'm not going to go to Starbucks, I'm not going to eat out as much, I'm going to forego a vacation and save my money. But the reality is that if you own or occupy a home, you can do that with as little as 3 to 5% down. So even if there's a $500,000 house, if you own or occupy it, you could be in that house for $20,000 or less. And in that number, $500,000, you can certainly find a place less than that, right? And $20,000 to try and save that up over 5 years means $4,000 a year, right? Which is $300 a month. So you have to find and put yourself in a position. If you save $300 a month for a 5-year period, you can buy your first place. If you do that again over a 5-year period, you can buy your second place, right? So it doesn't. Most of our clients, by the way, they own either 1 or 2.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So the vast majority own 1. You get some that own 2, but almost always, the onesies, I call them, they have lived in their property. For some, bought it, lived in it for some period of time, and then when they decide to go, they're going to move, they decided to keep it and use it as a rental property, and so now they actually have 2 properties.
Right, and that's awesome. And what I asked you at the break was, what's your favorite part of what you do?
Right.
And what did you say?
Well, so I think it's 2 things. As I mentioned, one is being able to help other people meet their goals and objectives. And it sounds simplistic in that manner, but there are occasions where you come across people, particularly younger people. There's nothing greater than to see somebody who's in their early 20s or mid-20s, and it's a very difficult leap of faith, because I remember being there, and you hear people tell you about these investment principles. It's a good idea to save your money. It's a good idea to live below your means. It's a good idea to track a budget and not waste money. You hear that, but you're like, I don't know if that translates later in life into something meaningful or not. It's not tangible. But to encourage, like when I come across, as we were talking about on the break, I came across a young kid who was with his mom. She had helped him kind of work his first purchase, and he's trying to decide how he wants to move forward and all these things. And I gave him a good amount of advice and consideration. I offered up my time to mentor him if he needed help along the way. To me, that is really, truly the best way to spend time, is find somebody who is younger or trying to figure out how they can achieve their goals in life, and offer them guidance on how they can do it. And then, of course, we have a great team at Denali, and everyone's really fantastic and working very hard. So everyone, people always say, Mike, what motivates you? And the true answer to that is, and everybody on our team knows that, I believe that it's our obligation to meet our maximum potential. It's our obligation. Whether you believe in God or not, it doesn't matter. Your obligation of your time here, being the gift that it is to maximize yourself in every possible way. So I tell everyone, my job is to make sure they have an opportunity to maximize their potential.
Absolutely.
If they do that, then I am too. So it's really about saying, look, are you maximizing your life? And it doesn't have to be, it's not 100% work. Are you maximizing your potential at home? Is your fitness okay? Are you eating well? Like, are you treating yourself the way that you should? Are you maximizing yourself in every way? Spiritually, or whatever your things are, you have to make your own list. But then say, how am I going to maximize that in life? Are you going home and watching Netflix for 4 hours every night, or are you going to do something to add value?
Yeah.
The thing I tell my daughter, I'm soapboxing here, but the thing I tell my daughter is, I say, her name's Lauren, so what is Lauren today going to do to make life easier for the Lauren of tomorrow?
Oh.
So think about that. When you're sitting on the couch and you have something to do, are you going to leave it for Lauren of tomorrow, or are you going to leave it for Lauren of today and get it done to make life easier? The money you save today is for the you of tomorrow, right? The money that you invest today is for the you of tomorrow. Are you going to help the you of tomorrow, or are you going to hurt the you of tomorrow? the choices we make today is gonna decide what that's gonna be.
I love that about you. I just, after hearing that one for the first time in a long time, but you can know what it exudes from you already, right?
Of course.
And I mean, it did. I mean, ever since I've known you, I know that about you. And, it's funny how we could sit and talk for hours, honestly.
True story. And we do.
We do. We do. And it's mainly when we do talk about, it's like business ideas, right? And what you could do
Mhm.
to grow and make things better and banter back and forth.
It's sharing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, we are 1 + 1 = 3. If you find those kinds of people in life, just hold on to them dearly, because it's very rare. It's not forced, right? You have to find a circumstance where the people around you, it's not forced. Nobody says, why haven't you called me, kind of thing.
Right.
I have friends from a long time ago, we reconnect, nobody says, why haven't you, whatever.
Right,
It's
right,
like, no, we're just happy that we're in each other's presence.
Absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
I mean, I think those are the kinds of things, creating those environments and having that scenario in life, that's, to me, what makes me happy.
Now, I want to go back to what you started off with too, which is the teaching, the education part of what
Yeah.
you're doing right now. And because I want to get you at the people that might have just tuned in to hear
Yeah, it's
that.
really big. So we've created an investor center where at this stage we'll have a separate one where we can happily, help investors specifically. This one that we're doing is really geared toward real estate agents, offering them. It's free, doesn't cost them any money. We're partnering with different like title companies and lenders where we can go in and do a presentation for their people. It's not just a presentation. A presentation is I come in, you're there for an hour or two or whatever, and then afterwards, away you go. We have a whole consulting endeavor behind that, still free, but what it is, hey, this is the beginning part. Our job is to show you all the things that you need to be thinking about and how you can start integrating these things into your daily life so you get stronger and more educated in this area. But then we're still here on the back end to help you when you have questions and problems and I don't know what to do.
There's a lot of real estate agents out there that, you really want to be the best at what you can be, right? We know that there's one on every almost corner, but
There
a
is.
lot of them don't, some are doing it part-time and things like that. You want to become the best, you want to learn from the best.
Maximize your potential.
That's, absolutely, and so is that all the information yet still on your website yet, or?
Yeah, no, we're actually changing that around.
Okay. Okay.
In fact, that just got started yesterday. So we're putting up a whole bunch of tools where people can go on and input different things for how does return calculation work and how you can evaluate different properties. We have a bunch of great tools that we've implemented as well for our clients.
Well, I think the best thing to do, you're listening to this, maybe it's you or someone that you know, tell them about it because you want to better yourself. That's what it's all about, through education. Their phone number to call, it's 480-626-4062. And also, if you're an investor in any way, he's the person to talk to, for sure. Again, it's 480-626-4062. It is DenaliArizona.com.